How to prevent opioid dependence. So this again depends on who we're talking about. If somebody is on a prescription from their doctor, then following the instructions on taking the minimum possible dose is the best way to avoid dependency. So typically, for example, with Percocet or Vicodin, it's 1 to 2 pills every 4 to 6 hours. The idea is to start off at the minimum dose, so 1 pill every 6 hours. They could stretch it out to even every 8 or 12 hours. A little bit of pain is expected. I mean, we're on these medications because of a pain reason. So there's nothing to fear. Pain does not kill, and sometimes it's better to err on the side of caution. So dealing with the pain, learning how to deal with it without coping, depending on an opioid, is the way to go. So our society has become somewhat fearful of pain, and we need to learn how to embrace that, because there's alternatives aside from opioids. Preventing a dependency in somebody who is actively using. So I mean, the obvious thing is to minimize how much you're using and don't take excessive doses. But a lot of people, just like myself included, as somebody who's in long-term recovery, even though I know better, I kind of didn't listen to myself, and I kept going and using and using. So this comes from a harm reduction standpoint, and that is, if you are going to use, especially with opioids, to use no longer than 2 days at a time, and to allow a break of 1 day afterwards. So with an active opioid user who is going to use, and there's no doubt about it, then the smartest thing to do is to use for a maximum of 2 days, and then allow 1 to 2 days afterwards. This is very hard to do because the opioids are so addictive, and most people can't adhere to this. But if they are going to use, this is my advice, not as a physician, but more so as a fellow user or recovering user, is that the way to avoid dependency is to allow some time, a buffer between use. So again, it's if they're going to use for a day or two, and then allow a day or two off in between, and to adhere to that strictly.